welcome is looking great. Realtors coming. Realtors, while you're jumping in, if you'd like to get some referrals from other superstar realtors, go ahead in the chat box right now. Put your area that you work in and put your contact info, because people will be able to download the chat after this call. And if they need somebody in an area, we got like Indianapolis on here, we got California on here, we got Ohio on here, all over the place. You'll be able to get some referrals from outside. It's great to network with other agents that are interested in being on a mastermind. Look, we even had our dog join back here behind us. He's going to be in here. Hopefully the FedEx guy doesn't show up, but go ahead, put your information down there. We're going to keep everybody muted. I'm going to actually mute everybody. And if you want to talk later, we'll have you unmute yourselves, but we'll keep everybody muted so we get a nice clean recording. We're going to be talking today about how to get more listings. That's why I think we're going to have a big group on here. Everybody wants listings. What's up, Austin with Lockstep? How are you? Laura, what's going on? Taylor's jumping in. Rena, Brittany, Chris, Angela. What's up, Angela? Marcella, you're taking a walk and you got the headphones on. Good to see you, right? Give us a wave. There we go. We got Margie on here. Manuel's jumping on. Sarah, great. Welcome, 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 everybody. People have figured it out. We start on time. We respect your time on here. When you get on here, we will start at noon Eastern sharp here in just a second. Go ahead and put your information in the chat. We're sharing everybody's data, what area you work in, and also your contact info so people can send you a referral. Joseph, I see you're on there. You're in North Atlanta, Gainesville, but go ahead and put your contact info. Oh, you did. There you go. And further down the chat. All right. I was going to say, nobody's going to know where to find you. Maybe they can look you up on LinkedIn. We're getting started here in just a second. How to get more listings while you're logging in. We will be recording this call. In fact, I think it's recording already right now. You'll get a chance to download the chat so you have a nice list of like-minded agents that you can do referral business and people can get you. So go ahead and put your contact info in there as we get ready to go. We're going to be knocking out crazy. We got top agents going to be talking to you today about how to get more listings. So it's going to be great. And look, people are still piling in. That's awesome. Awesome. I love the cameras on. Cameras on help us know that you're engaged and help gives energy back to the person that is going to be talking. So I'm going to get started here right now. Welcome to everybody as you're coming in. As you come in, go ahead and put in the chat, put your contact info in so we can download that and you can trade some referrals back and forth. But today we're going to be talking about how to get more listings. Who wants to list to live, baby? Let's see it. Hands up. List to live. That's what I was taught decades ago. It's great being a buyer's agent if you don't like having a life. If you'd like to have a life, you want to get some listings and you want to do some listings. So we're going to start off today. We've got 3 panelists. What we're going to be doing to keep the recording nice and clean is we're going to keep everybody muted. If you have a question, you can go down to the bottom of the Zoom and there's a little button that says reactions. You can actually raise your hand and we can call on you and you can unmute like that, or you can put your question in the chat box. We'll monitor that. And of course, we'll have Q&A at the end. And at the end, if you have tips and tricks, we want you to participate. We want you to give back to the real estate community. Today's going to be a smorgasbord information. Take what you like, leave the rest. Let's get some listings. I'm going to introduce our first superstar. I happen to know her very well. I've known her for a couple decades. She is a killer, boss babe, real estate agent, superstar wife, superstar mom, and she's been crushing it for decades now in real estate. Last year, her team did over 800 closings. But she personally did 58 herself, 16 million in sales personally. And the best part about the story is, guys, she spent 3 months in the Caribbean while doing it. So I'm going to introduce to you my wife, Stacy Lambright. She's going to come on here right now and show you what she does for listings. So here you go, Stacy. I'm going to get out of the seat and I'm going to put her in the seat.
Want my thing?
I will. Sorry. We can run on the other side and set you up. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. So I guess he told me, told all you guys a little bit about us, but we're getting the slides pulled up here. So I'm going to be talking about, just click on that first one. It's stuff that you've already heard about. I think it's in every training when we're talking about listings, and especially if you're a newer listing. But I'll be bringing some.
Hang on,
you're on the last slide. You're on the last slide.
I will get it. Hang on 1 second. From the beginning. There we go. Go ahead and take it from there.
No, that's the last slide.
Oh, it's the last slide.
Yeah. There
you go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we've all heard when you need listings, and especially now for sale by owners, we know the last couple of years, they've been able to stick a sign in the yard and also sell their properties. But in our market, we're starting to see that market shift has affected them. So if for sale by owners, I'm trying to, one of the things that we personally do is we have pre-made packets, because not all for sale by owners, if you guys are using one of the tricks that I do with Zillow, is I have saved searches in my areas and in my price points for sale by owners. So when those pop in my inbox, I'm not real big when they first come in, because I think everybody's hitting them at that time, but it also sends me when they do a price adjustment. That's when I reach out to them. That's kind of the way that we normally find for sale by owners in our market. But I don't know about you guys. I'm out showing houses, and I don't know how many times that I go by and I see one of those little for sale by owner signs in the yard. We have pre-made packets that I keep in our, I have a little credenza thing kind of in my passenger side, but it's already a pre-made packet. And then I do a handwritten note. So make sure you have those that you can literally stick them in the mailbox while you're out there. And then one thing that worked really, really well for us about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, we had to get a little creative because we had a market shift here too, coming out of the recession. There was everybody had listings, and we had to do something to be a little bit different. So we were focusing on the for sale by owner programs, and we offered $10 Amazon gift cards to everybody in our sphere on social media, that if they just took a photo of a for sale by owner sign and sent it to us on social media, we would immediately send them a $10 Amazon gift card. We met with a ton of for sale by owners off of that program right there. And then when you do meet with them, you've got to have something different. One of the things that you want to make sure is every agent under the sun is probably hitting them up to get their listing. So be a source of knowledge, be a source of education for the market, for them to still be quote unquote a for sale by owner. And you're just there to help. You can advertise open houses. You can do social media boosts for them. You can give them free weekly CMAs. Because here's the thing. We all know that eventually they're probably going to convert. If you've been the one agent that's been helpful in educating them and giving them stuff, and not just, can I have your listing? Can I have your listing? They're probably going to come to you. Expired and canceled programs. I tell our trainees, our mentees, as soon as in our MLS system, as soon as it goes expired or canceled, I know that they're getting 1,000,001 hits from all the realtors, because this is the first thing they changed. So focus on that 12 months ago. You can pull the homes that expired or that were canceled 12 months ago. Make sure they're not relisted, obviously. And that's the ones maybe you should reach out to, the 6 months and the 3 months. And when you reach out to them, I've got a note on there, give them an idea. It's okay for you to talk about maybe why your opinion, why they didn't sell, but stick to market conditions. Like when we're talking to someone right now that expired or that canceled in the last 6 months to 12 months, we talk to them about the rates and the fact that buyers last spring kind of in our market, they put the gas pedal on, they slowed down. I don't know if you saw that in yours. But now that everyone knows the rates aren't going to go plummeting again, the buyers are back out again. So don't talk about the agent. That's one thing that I do. Don't ever bring up agent strategy or agent pricing, and don't talk about pricing yet. Your whole goal is to try to get in front of them. And one of the best ways to maybe be a little bit different too is you can find them on social media. If you find them on social media, send them a video, not just a message, but a video that says, hey, saw that you tried to sell your house last year and you're not relisted. If you're still interested, would love to sit down with you. I've done a little bit of research. I think I might know why it didn't sell. Would love to discuss that with you. It could be that it was purely price, but don't bring that up at this point. You've got to learn to get to build that rapport and get in touch with them before talking about price. And then obviously too, I got a note here, temporarily off market for our newer agents is not a canceled or expired listing. Don't reach out to them. You'll find yourself in trouble. So REOs, and there's some interesting facts on here. We're starting to see these pop up. I got a couple of short sales that I haven't done short sales in a few years, and I've got 2 of them right now. So REO programs, they're out there. If your broker offers them, get certified, connect with people, because here's the thing. And I know these are older stats, but that's what I kind of get. Take a look at this one. The first half, there were 164,000 properties that filed for foreclosure, but they only foreclosed on 3239. So what that means is we had 161,000 that were distressed that did not foreclose. That is a huge resource right there. That's kind of an in-between because it's not an REO. But if you start talking in your sphere, in your social media marketing about, if you know anybody that is distressed or they lost their job and they need to sell and they can't sell, there's a gap there of people that you can help and become the expert on that and get their listing. And you can get your full, in our market, we're starting to see reduced commissions just because that's the way that it's going. These are one of the few things, if you can get a short sale, they're paying the full 6%. That's not even argued. So that's one way too, that's a plus, but that's a whole market right there that if you hone in on that, and trust me, if you get out on social media and you start putting that out, you're actually going to help a lot of people. That's a big thing. So REO, figure out how to get certified, connect with people. We have a couple options if you want to talk to us. The other one is Relo. Relocation's big right now, especially in our market. I don't know how your market is, but companies are coming in, companies are leaving. So figure out how you can get that certification and reach out to the companies, talk to the human resource departments, see if you can get on their list. And then down here, this is very big right now too, is invest cash buyers. That's kind of like the iBuyer programs that you see, or we buy your houses for cash. So here's a hint, because if you can find a way to get connected with the company, this is great. How many times are you out driving around that you see one of those really ugly signs? I think half the time they're handwritten. We buy ugly houses. We pay cash for houses. Those are a source of people you can put in your pocket. Make contact with them, see if they're willing to pay a commission if you bring them a house that they're interested in. But listen to this, here's what it does. If you can get a couple of them to say, yes, I would look at a house, not that I would buy, but just look, I would look at a house that you would bring me and I would cover your commission. Now you can reach out to this for sale by owners again and say, listen, is it okay if I come and see your property really quick? Because I have cash investors that might be interested in your property. It's a way to get you in the door. Maybe it comes together, maybe it doesn't. It just makes you different when you're talking to that for sale by owner. And two, if you do bring a couple of these deals to these people and it works, build it in that you're the listing agent when they flip and sell it. So there's a lot of business. You got to be creative. You got to be thinking outside the box. My last slide that Jim kind of put up, anticlimactic, but I just want to show our closings. And I did put through May because these are the ones that I have inked to go. We've had to diversify. Like we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. These are our closings and what we're doing right now. Referral sources, that's big for us right now. We have reached out to third-party sources where you pay at closing. I don't pay for leads. Relocation, I've got 3 of them that are closing, or the heck they're closing. Agent referral for EXP, but an open house. This is a thing. Open houses will bring listings. This one was 5 years ago. It's a great story to stay on, but this is actually a buyer and a seller. When you get listings, you will get buyers. So hopefully that's okay for you guys also. And then our sphere. So definitely diversify, get out there, do everything that you can. That was some of my those are old tricks, but maybe you got some new tricks on how to perform with them. So I'm gonna put it there.
Great job.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Great job by Stacy. And, somebody that started real estate in 1997. And I like to say she started when she was 5 years old. So there we go on that, because our kid's 22. So, you had to do that. So that was great by Stacy. I'm going to bring on our next superstar. And he has been killing it for a decade now in real estate, and he's out of the Indianapolis marketplace. And his name is Alex. He's with Lockstep Realty. Is his team actually that he does, and I believe his team. Actually, you can correct me on the numbers, but I think you guys did 50 million or something like that, and you're pushing to break that this year on that. So, Alex, go ahead and take over here. Tell everyone how to get more listings.
Yeah, so some of the old faithful tried and true methods that Stacy mentioned, FSBOs and expireds, are things that I utilize to build my business, but I don't want to touch on those. I think we can take some of the conversation that she started centered around open houses. And so I'll touch on that really quick. Open houses, if you guys can get into them, it's not the matter of just sitting into the house, but it's what you do up to the point that the open house happens, and then how you follow up after you get the listing or sit in that listing. So preparing for open houses, one thing I learned in the past, it's how many directional signs can you put in a yard? Traditionally, what you see is one on each side of the house, a directional pointing towards the house, and one at the house, and maybe a flyer in front of it. And the reality is you need to be able to push those signs out to the major streets so people see that you have more signs in the yards that can geographically point them to your house. It's not that they need to follow those things to get to the house, but it's that they see your stuff everywhere. So when you start your open house, before you do it, you should be delivering mailers to at least 10 on the right, 10 on the left, 10 across the street that I'm holding an open house, and for 30 to 45 minutes beforehand, I'm going to have mimosas, I'm going to have Bloody Marys, I'm going to have cookies, whatever you want. Come check out the marketing that your neighbor across the street's doing, because every neighbor is nosy and they want to know what house is coming on the market. Then they want to know what they're going to get for it. If you're doing all that work, there's many opportunities for you to develop the relationships with those people, because those strategies people typically aren't doing. The traditional open house strategy that you'll see, people stick an open house sign in the yard 30 minutes before, they stand in there for 2 hours, they sit on the couch, people walk in, come on in, sign in, and on they go. After the open house, you could be sending out some sort of flyer to the neighborhood that says, just wanted to let you know, we listed the house at 123 Main Street. We had 48 people through an open house. We had 25 showings. We sold substantially over list price. What that tells me is that there are people looking for your house in the neighborhood. If you've considered selling your home, please give us a call, because we have buyers that are looking for what you have. That is a direct resource to ask, to tell people, we have somebody to buy your house, but also, would you consider listing it to get the same type of activity? So that's the piece on open houses. Additionally, there's one thing, one thing we're doing right now for buyers that we have. We're reaching out with mailers. They're going to be listing in buyer lists that just say, we have buyers that are looking for a house like this. What you can do with that is you could bring your buyers in on exclusive listing appointments. It's a one-time deal. But if you're impressive and you put forth good effort with what you're doing, maybe that seller says, hey, this may not have worked out with the buyer that you brought through the house, but we're very impressed with what you did. Here's an opportunity for you to list the house. Another option that you guys could do, and this is very basic, old school, it's uncomfortable and it's tough, but go knock on a door and ask for listings. Go into a neighborhood that you want to be a presence in, dress nicely, carry some information packets. Hi, I'm a local realtor in the neighborhood. This house up the street sold for this price, this fast, with this many people through the house. Have you considered selling your home? Or if you could get this much money for your home, would you consider selling it? Or what is a price that you would sell your home for if you could get it today? Those are great ways to get quick listings very fast. The one thing we haven't touched on that I think is the most important is leveraging your database. Guys, your database turns over 8 to 10% every single year. If you have 200 people in your database, that is in the ballpark of 16 to 20 transactions. One side of them, if they're moving both, you need to be understanding, are there lifestyle changes? Are there death, divorce, disease, things like that come up, job changes, promotions, family changes where they're growing their families. Somebody's pregnant, they're having a baby, they run out of space, right? So those are great ways to know that your sphere is turning over. One thing that I used to do, I don't do as much anymore because it hasn't necessarily been as relevant, but it certainly is now. I used to do a CMA every January. And what I would do is I would do a CMA from when they bought. Here's what you paid and here's what the market looked like. Here's the CMA today. I think your home is priced somewhere in this ballpark. I would get a ton of phone calls and a ton of feedback from that, from the standpoint of, holy smokes, I had no idea. We have this perception that everybody knows what the market is. Everybody knows that it's crazy or it's a seller's market or anything like that, as it's talked about on the news or Facebook or social media. But the reality is a lot of people don't know what their house is worth. They use the benchmark of what the neighbor across the street sells their house for, and they think that that's good enough. But oftentimes it can be even greater than that. And that information is what can get somebody off the couch and in calling you to put a sign in the yard. So don't be afraid to use Old Faithful and touch base with your sphere and your database to make sure that they, one, know you're there, two, know what their house is worth, and three, make it easy on them in the instance that, hey, have you considered moving or anything like that, you're the resource for them to call. Lastly, in your database, you should know what your sphere is doing for a living. If you know what business they do, recently we picked up a client. The client works in the home audio business. Holy smokes, what a resource. They mount TVs, they put speaker systems in houses, and on we go. You could work some sort of promotional program with that guy where it's like, hey, we have somebody building a new construction. Can you go put new speakers in the ceiling before they do the drywall? Can you do this on these rehabs? Hey, we have it. You then start marketing his business for him. You could do promotional things at his office where you bring them coffee, lunch, things like that. You get access to his whole business network. Then you are the primary source of contact and you get the referrals and the leads from them. Not always just listings, but those are buyers. Those are tons of opportunities across all fronts. And then last thing I'll touch on, the investor pool. I think Stacy absolutely nails it. I think we pay for leads. I'm a Zillow, you could call me a Zillow whore. I guess it's pretty fair. I pay for it. I love it. It's been a great resource to me and my business. I get a ton of calls from investors, and the traditional thought is, man, an investor is a pain in the butt. I don't want to deal with it. But the reality is those investors not only buy, but then they have a house to sell. And so you get two ends on every single time that they do a transaction. And if you pay attention to them and bring them good product and treat them well and do well by them, those are great listings, which then you get to turn around and do the open houses and do the just solds and do the just listeds and all the other things follow behind it. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty with some of those investors.
I love it, Alex. I got a question for you. And by the way, anybody in the crowd, this is audience participation. You can raise your hand if you have a question by going down to the reactions button at the bottom. It'll raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat and we'll read it for you. And you can unmute if you want to do that. But I got a question for Alex. Alex, on the just listed, just sold card, the stuff you do for the neighborhood, do you partner with anybody to help absorb the cost, like your lender or your title company?
Yeah, so our lender will do it if we ask them. The other thing that we do is we'll partner with we'll look to partner with vendors that are locally driven. So like if we're near a local coffee shop, we've gone to the coffee shop and say, can we put a promotion at the bottom of the just listed, just solds? So it'll say something like, if you come to Goldly and buy a cup of coffee, get a free Danish. What I would tell you is that if you're going to send just listed, just solds, you better have something promotional at the bottom. Otherwise, those people are going to get them and they're going to throw them in the trash. So you need